Welcome to our channel. What if the secret advantage of people who stay independent, sharp, and surprisingly strong after 70 is not a miracle gene, but one daily habit almost anyone can build? Today, I'm going to show you why nonstop movement may matter more than exercise, how stillness silently speeds aging, and the simple shifts that can protect your muscles, balance, brain, heart, and freedom far longer than most people ever imagine after 70 itself. Let me start with something most people do not expect to hear. The biggest threat to healthy aging after 70 is often not age by itself. It is the quiet, creeping habit of becoming still for too long, too often, day after day. And the reason that matters is shocking, because once your body starts interpreting stillness as the new normal, it begins cutting back on the very systems you need most to stay alive, capable, and independent. Think about two people who are both 74. They live in the same neighborhood, eat reasonably well, and take the same medications for blood pressure. One of them walks to the kitchen, sits, watches television, sits again, rides in the car, sits through lunch, sits through the afternoon, and tells herself she is simply taking it easy. The other is not a gym fanatic at all, but she gets up often, walks after meals, carries groceries, gardens, does chair rises, and stays physically engaged throughout the day. Now, here is the part that changes everything. Those two lives may look similar on the outside, but inside the body, they are creating very different aging signals. One body is getting the message, shrink what we do not use. The other is getting the message, preserve the muscle, keep the circulation sharp, keep the fuel system working, keep the balance system awake. The truth is, after 70, your body is always listening to how often you move. And that brings us to the first secret. People who never stop moving after 70 are not necessarily stronger because they exercise harder. They often live longer and function better because they protect what I call biological reserve. That reserve is your hidden backup system. It is the extra strength in your legs, the extra steadiness in your balance, the extra stamina in your heart and lungs, and the extra recovery capacity that helps you bounce back when life hits hard. Why is that reserve so important? Because after 70, small problems do not stay small for long when reserve is low. A mild cold can become a week in bed. A tiny stumble can become a fracture. A short hospital stay can suddenly steal muscle, confidence, and independence. But here's the shocking part. Movement helps defend that reserve in a way pills simply cannot. It trains the body to keep investing in you, and there is real science behind this. In very large studies, including research pooling data from more than 2 million adults, the connection between meeting physical activity recommendations and lower mortality actually appears stronger at older ages. Read that again in your mind. Stronger at older ages. In other words, movement does not become less valuable later in life. For many people, it becomes even more valuable because the body has more to lose and more to protect. Now wait for it. Because the next part is where most people completely misunderstand aging. They think movement is mainly about burning calories. It is not. Your muscles are one of the largest places in the body for handling glucose, which is blood sugar. When you move, your muscles act like a giant sponge for fuel. They help pull sugar out of the bloodstream, use it, store it, and keep your metabolism from drifting into chaos. When movement disappears, that entire system starts getting rusty. Blood sugar is handled less efficiently. Energy production becomes less reliable. You feel more sluggish. Recovery gets slower. And because muscle is such a powerful metabolic organ, losing it is not just about looking weaker. It is about becoming biologically more fragile. This is why I tell my patients that muscle is not just for lifting things. Muscle is a longevity organ. But here is the twist nobody talks about enough. The danger is not only skipping workouts. The danger is allowing the whole day to become one long stillness event. You can do a 20-minute walk in the morning, feel proud of yourself, and still spend the next 10 hours telling your biology to power down. That is why the people who age well often do something subtle. They break up stillness before stillness starts breaking them down. Remember when I mentioned the woman who keeps getting up, walking, gardening, carrying, and shifting? That pattern matters more than people realize. The World Health Organization has emphasized limiting sedentary time, and newer research suggests that replacing sedentary time with physical activity of any intensity is linked with lower all-cause mortality in older adults. Any intensity. That means the body responds not only to intensity, but to interruption, to standing, to stepping, to engaging. So let me ask you a question. How many hours a day does your body spend receiving the message that it is no longer needed? That may sound dramatic, but it is exactly the right question. Because after 70, the body becomes more economical. It tries to save resources. If a tissue is not used, the body is more willing to let that tissue weaken. If balance is not challenged, balance becomes less sharp. If strength is not called upon, strength fades quietly. And the scary part is how normal that process can feel. People say, well, I'm getting older, of course I move less. But the truth is, sometimes it is the other way around. You feel older because you moved less. You feel more unstable because you challenged your balance less. You feel weaker because you stopped asking your muscles to stay ready. And once that cycle starts, it can create one of the most dangerous traps in later life. Here is that trap. Weakness causes caution. Caution causes less movement. Less movement causes more weakness. More weakness causes fear. And fear causes even less movement. That spiral is devastating because it does not always begin with a major disease. Sometimes it begins with a chair, a routine, and a little too much sitting. You will not believe how often the first step toward dependence is not catastrophe. It is simply inactivity disguised as comfort. Now let's talk about mistake number 1. Many older adults believe walking alone solves everything. Walking is wonderful. I recommend it all the time. It supports the heart, circulation, mood, and endurance. But walking alone does not fully protect you from the 2 losses that steal independence fastest after 70, loss of strength and loss of balance. That is why people who seem to age powerfully usually do more than just walk. They also challenge their muscles and steadiness. Can you rise from a chair without pushing hard with your hands? Can you step onto a curb without hesitating? Can you turn, reach, and keep your balance? Can you catch yourself if you trip slightly on a rug? These sound like ordinary things, but they are actually survival skills. They determine whether you stay free in your own life or start depending on others for basic tasks that once felt automatic. And here comes the mini climax. Longevity after 70 is not just about staying alive. It is about staying usable. It is about being able to get out of bed, get off the toilet, get into the car, get through the grocery store, and get up again if you go down. But here's the shocking part. Many people measure health by their lab tests and ignore the most honest test of all, which is whether their body still obeys them easily. Remember when I mentioned biological reserve? Strength and balance are 2 of its biggest components. Public health guidance for older adults keeps returning to the same formula for a reason. About 150 minutes a week of moderate activity or 75 minutes of vigorous activity, plus muscle strengthening at least 2 days a week, plus balance-focused work. That is not random. It is designed to protect the systems aging threatens most aggressively. Now, mistake number 2. People think the movement has to be intense to count. That belief stops thousands of older adults before they ever begin. They imagine sweaty workouts, complicated classes, aching joints, and impossible standards. But the truth is far more hopeful. Some activity is better than none. Smaller bouts count. Even a brisk 5-minute walk can count toward your total. That means the door is much wider open than fear tells you it is. Let me give you a real-life example pattern I see all the time. A man retires, and at first he feels relieved. No commute, no schedule, no pressure. But over the next few years, the structure disappears. He sits more, he walks less, he carries less, he stops using stairs. He starts saying things like, I just don't have the energy anymore. But what if the energy did not disappear first? What if movement disappeared first? That question matters because movement does something extraordinary inside the aging body. It helps preserve mitochondrial function, the tiny energy-producing structures often called the power plants of your cells. When those systems are better supported, endurance improves, recovery improves, and the body feels less like it is running on fumes. So when older adults keep moving, they are not merely exercising. They are helping their internal power grid stay online. But wait for it, because there is another overlooked benefit. Movement also helps regulate mood, sleep, and confidence. When people move regularly, many notice they sleep more deeply, feel more capable, and become less trapped in the shrinking world that comes with too much sitting. And that matters emotionally, not just physically, because once someone starts believing, I can still do this, they often do more. Confidence becomes fuel, and fuel becomes motion. Now, let's tackle mistake number 3. People assume it is too late after 70 to gain any real benefit. That is simply not true. The National Institute on Aging has made it clear that it is never too late to become physically active and benefit from it. Not too late at 72, not too late at 81, not too late after a period of inactivity. The body may not respond like it did at 30, but it still responds. And that is one of the most hopeful truths in all of healthy aging. The body is adaptable far longer than people think. Not infinitely adaptable, not magically adaptable, but meaningfully adaptable. Strength can improve, balance can improve, endurance can improve, blood sugar control can improve, and perhaps most importantly, the ability to handle daily life can improve. That is the kind of progress that changes real lives, even when no one else sees the work behind it. Let me pause here and say something very important. Movement supports healthy aging, but it does not replace medical care. If you have arthritis, heart disease, diabetes, osteoporosis, COPD, nerve problems, severe balance issues, or memory problems, you may need a tailored approach. You may need to start more gently. You may need supervision, a physical therapist, a walking aid, or a conversation with your clinician. Smart movement is better than reckless movement every single time. And here is mistake number 4. Starting too aggressively because motivation is high. I have seen people go from doing almost nothing to trying to do everything in 1 week. Then the knees hurt, the back tightens, fatigue hits, and the whole plan falls apart. The truth is, older bodies often reward consistency more than heroics. Start lower than your pride wants. Progress slower than your impatience wants. Build a plan your body can trust. So what does a powerful movement day actually look like after 70? It may begin with a 10-minute walk after breakfast. Later, you stand while talking on the phone. You do a few chair rises before lunch. You walk for 5 or 10 minutes after eating. You carry light groceries instead of always avoiding the load. You take the stairs when safe. You stretch your calves at the counter. You practice standing on one foot with support nearby. That may not sound dramatic. Good. That is exactly the point. The longevity advantage often hides inside ordinary moments. It is woven into the day so naturally that it does not feel like punishment. And yet, inside the body, those moments are creating a powerful message. Keep the joints mobile. Keep the muscles responsive. Keep the nervous system alert. Keep circulation moving. Keep the repair systems interested in maintaining this body for 1 more year and then another. Now here is mistake number 5, and it may be the most common of all. Many people wait to feel motivated before they move. But motivation is unreliable, especially when energy is low or pain is present. The truth is, action often comes first and motivation follows. You start with 2 minutes, then 5, then 10. Then your body begins to remember something important. Movement is not draining me the way I feared. It is actually waking me up. But here's the shocking part that almost nobody says out loud. Sitting too much can make you feel like movement is the problem, when sitting is actually part of the cause. The more inactive you become, the stiffer you feel, the heavier your body feels, and the more effort even simple activity seems to require. That creates a cruel illusion. You think movement is making you tired, when prolonged stillness has been quietly lowering your capacity all along. Remember when I mentioned those 2 people in their 70s? This is where their lives keep separating. One waits to feel ready, the other builds readiness by moving. One interprets discomfort as a reason to stop. The other learns the difference between safe effort and harmful strain. One protects comfort in the moment. The other protects function in the future. And over months and years, those choices can widen into a dramatic gap in independence. Now let's talk about the brain, because I know many of you are thinking about memory too. Regular physical activity is associated with lower risk of depression and may support certain aspects of brain health, memory, and cognition. I want to be very careful here. Movement is not a guaranteed shield against dementia, and the research on cognition is more modest than sensational headlines suggest. But support is still meaningful. Brain blood flow, mood, sleep, and resilience all matter. And if you have ever noticed that your thinking feels clearer after a walk, you already understand part of that story. The brain is not floating separately from the rest of the body. It is affected by circulation, inflammation, glucose control, sleep quality, stress chemistry, and emotional state. Movement touches all of those. So while it may not offer magic, it offers something better than magic. It offers repeatable support for the systems your brain depends on. Now I want to give you 3 practical secrets that make this work in the real world. Secret number 1, stop thinking only in workouts and start thinking in movement windows. Every 30 to 60 minutes, find a reason to stand, step, stretch, or carry. Secret number 2, pair movement with existing habits. Walk after meals. Do chair rises before brushing your teeth at night. Stand during commercials or phone calls. Secret number 3, protect your legs like your future depends on them, because it does. If your legs stay stronger, your whole life stays bigger. You can recover from a misstep. You can get up from low seats. You can keep walking into stores, parks, kitchens, gardens, and family events without feeling defeated by the distance. But if leg strength quietly fades, the world begins shrinking in ways that are heartbreakingly easy to miss. First, it is the stairs, then long hallways, then outings, then confidence, then freedom. This is why balance work matters too, and far more than most people think. Balance is not a luxury, it is an insurance policy. Heel to toe walking near a counter, standing on one foot with support nearby. Gentle weight shifts, controlled marching in place, and sit to stand practice can all help train the body to stay coordinated. These are not flashy exercises, but when a slippery floor, uneven curb, or awkward turn challenges you, flashy is not what saves you. Preparedness does. And remember this, the goal is not to become fearless. The goal is to become capable enough that fear stops running the show. Because fear can age a person fast. It limits movement. It narrows routines. It keeps people home. It makes them overprotect a body that actually needs smart challenge to stay alive and functional. The people who keep moving after 70 are not reckless. They are simply unwilling to surrender their future to fear and stillness. So what is the weekly blueprint? Aim for about 150 minutes of moderate movement across the week if you can, or about 75 minutes of vigorous activity if that is appropriate for you. Add strength work at least twice a week. Add balance practice often, especially if you feel unsteady. And most importantly, stop letting the day become one long sitting session. That last piece may be the missing link for far more people than any fancy exercise plan. You do not need a perfect body, expensive equipment, or athletic history to start. You need a reason, a rhythm, and repetition. A reason to protect your independence. A rhythm that fits your actual life. And repetition strong enough to teach your body a new normal. That is how change happens after 70. Not through grand gestures, through repeated signals, through daily proof that your body is still in use and worth maintaining. So let me leave you with one final truth. The longevity advantage of people who never stop moving after 70 is not that they discovered some secret medicine nobody else can access. It is that they keep sending life back into the body in small, regular, powerful doses. Step by step, stand by stand, lift by lift, day by day. And the body, amazingly, responds by preserving more of what makes life feel like life. If this spoke to you, tell me in the comments one movement habit you already do every day, or one habit you are ready to restart this week. And share this with someone over 70 who needs hope, not hype. Because healthy aging is not about moving perfectly. It is about refusing to disappear into stillness. I'm Dr. Leana, and I want you to remember this the next time you think movement does not matter. It might matter more now than ever.